see it, I can just pick it up with the naked eye now and again. But if you look at this guy in the front, you might notice a few things. And obviously some of you might notice different things from others. But he's busy chewing, so he's ruminating. There's an oxpecker landing on him. Rumination is basically chewing or re-chewing his food. So this morning he was eating grass. Now he's relaxing a bit. He's lying in the water or in the mud to cool down, and other benefits as well. And he's just chewing the grass again, or chewing the cud. You get the same thing with sheep, cattle, giraffe, impala. Many animals are ruminants. And they have to spend quite a bit of time during the day just chewing that food, grinding down the cellulose, grinding down the structure, if you want, of the grass, so they can get maximum benefit from it. As I said, he's doing it at the same time as lying in the mud. It's going to keep him nice and cool. It's also going to maybe keep a few parasites off him. Those oxpeckers, the two birds that just flew away, they also help with that. They clean ticks and things off the buffalo. And what I was sort of starting with when I said he's lying in the mud, and what I could see is I can see flies around him. Many, many flies. These little black flies that can get into every little nook and cranny, into your ear, into your eye. They can be quite an irritation sometimes. And I believe from watching Brent yesterday that there's lots of flies out here, so we're going to maybe have to swat a few ourselves. Let's go look around. So there's so much I want to talk about. Obviously lots of exciting wildlife to look forward to, but also great new additions to the team, as I mentioned. Tara and Nikki in the control room, but also the guys. Brent is fantastic to meet. We got to know each other a bit last night. Stefan, he's gone for a few days leave quickly before he comes back over the weekend. Both great guys, great experience, seen lots of things, lots of places. Let's have another look at this buffalo. He's got a good spot there, unless he gets up now. Just like the way he's sort of looking at him through the reeds and the trees here. As I said, he's just sort of right in the water there. It's also a nice spot for us to stop because we've got a bit of shade here. Doing what Duggar boys do best. Duggar boys refer to these old buffalo bulls. They like to have the good life. They enjoy the water holes, the good grazing. They don't have to move as far and as wide as the big herds do to get enough food. So good view. It's also very exciting. The next few days we will be obviously enjoying the drives, and also for HG myself, get to know the team a little bit and rehearsing a few things. We're building up to a fantastic weekend. Well, every drive is fantastic. That's the beauty of live game drives, but a big weekend next weekend towards Mother's Day. And in that spirit, we again invite you to sort of join us on the exploration of preparing for a big event. And on that same note, Tara, just you've been talking to me, not to HT. Just check your channels in case you're surprising. Just thought I'd rather mention that now. And yeah, that's it. I was starting to talk about Stefan and Brent, and I'm a little bit jealous with some of the experiences those guys have had. HT as well. All of us in our own way have had amazing places and seen amazing things. But I was chatting to Stefan last night, and the walking he's done in Kruger truly is one of my dreams, to have that kind of access to one of the most stunning wildlife areas in the world. So it's an honor to be in such esteemed company with everyone here. Guys, just thank you very much, and I'm still surprised by this every time in such a pleasant way, about the warmth that you experience, not only when you come back to the team and the family on the ground here, but to so many of you, and so many of you on the vehicle right now. Many of you might be your first time, but many of you have done this for a long time now. You've grown with us, you've experienced this whole adventure as it unfolded, and I just want to say a big thank you for the welcomes back, and for the greetings, and all the support and friendship we've experienced over time. It really has made this experience for me something unique beyond anything I've experienced. So big thank you as well. Look forward to showing more and sharing more with you. There's a little Impala male, not little actually, he's in great shape, running off there. And we're going to look around some more, still keeping my fingers crossed that we might, for the first drive for me this afternoon, find Karula. That would really make my week. And speaking of leopards, and of Karula, one of her offspring, one of the great family trio of Safari, the grandmother, and Karula, the mother, is with HD. So enjoy that, and I'll see you again soon.
Well, folks, welcome back to the Sunrise Drive this afternoon, and it's so great to be here. And look what we've found. Look what we've found. We found our boy that we left this morning, which is very, very satisfying. We've been scratching around over the other side here, Andrew and I, looking for him where we left him this morning, and couldn't find him for, well, we've been looking for about 40 minutes now. We just thought the breeze is coming across the side of the water, very beautiful sort of breeze this side. We thought we'll just give it a try over here. We're coming around the corner, and my eyes in the sky, Andrew again just went bang, there he is, lying just in that beautiful little cool spot. Breeze just flowing over him there. It's so nice. It really is, folks, just to be looking at this time of the day. Now he is flat, he's asleep as we can see, and he's conserving his energy. It is up around 30 degrees Celsius, which is about 86 Fahrenheit. It's a very warm day, but luckily there is a little bit of a wind blowing off that water. So he's smart, you know. He's dropped himself into this little shadow below this little bank here, with a bit of breeze flowing over him, and a few little annoying flies like we've all got on us at the moment. And what a welcome back. This has been an incredible day, and if I've never met you before, I'd just like to introduce myself again. My name's Hayden Turner. I was here in November with Pieter Pretorius when we got back going again in Djuma for Nat Geo with Big Cat Week, and we had about 30 days leading up to that last year, and we're back again. A great privilege it is. So if I've just met you for the first time, really great to meet you, and for all those people I know out there who's been with us all that time, great to have you on board this afternoon again. As most people will know, just to recap from this morning, if you were with us, this is the first cat that I met, the first leopard I met on Djuma and Arathusa, and he's a very special boy to me. I know a lot of the viewers that have just tuned in to watch Wild Earth and Safari Live in that time period joined me on that first day, and I know a couple of people in particular on social media have said, you know, fantastic, because it was our first cat as well we saw with you. So hats off to everyone that knows this boy. But if you don't know him, I'll give you a little bit of the background, and you'll get to know him as time goes on. As you know, with Wild Safari Live, we like to try and give as much information about all the animals that we come across, particularly the big cats, and build a little bit of a personality profile, I suppose, around them, because it's really, really interesting to know their pattern of behaviour, who they're related to, and as much other information as we can share. So this is the son of the Queen of Djuma, Karula, and if you did hear this morning, I apologise for repeating it, but just for people that may have just joined us, the son of Karula, the Queen of Djuma, and it's her fourth litter, and the son also of Mvula, a beautiful, beautiful big male that gets around these parts. And weirdly enough, I've seen Mvula in a very, very similar position up here. many months ago. So I was talking to Brent later on at breakfast this morning when we got back, and thanking him for helping find him this morning for me. And Brent refers to this, you can't really see it from here, but if he does stand up, we'll point it out, and it's this beautiful row of parallel rosettes that goes down the base of his back just before it meets his tail. Brett calls it the landing strip. It does really look like two very equilateral rosettes along there, and I always love, he's got a fantastic little marking on the left hand side of his neck as well, which is a little bit tricky to see as well. But all in all, this is a really great opportunity to see the brilliance of that nature's markings. You know, I don't know if you can go into too much detail with talking to geneticists and scientists, but wow, Mother Nature's certainly got this one right, hey? Look at those beautiful markings, and they play a very important role in the animal's existence. They're used to camouflage the animal, and I'm sure most of you have seen a leopard, maybe only in a documentary or on Wild Safari Live, or even in the wild yourself in Africa, and they might have only been about, who knows, 10 meters away from you, and you could hardly see them. The camouflage is spectacular. They use it to aid themselves in that fantastic ambush ability that they have, and they're just beautiful to look at. Really amazing markings, gorgeous rosettes there, and he is just flat out there at the moment. He's lying there, obviously, as I said, to conserve energy, and the majority of the time they're active in the cooler parts of the day, as most people will know. And we'll sit with him for a bit, and the great thing is, hallelujah, Pete's on the roll as well with Jigger, and how wonderful is it to have Pete back. I know many people were waiting for Pete this morning, and he's an amazing guy, and he's very happy to be back in Jigger and driving around this magnificent part of the world. So we can cross to him, and I think you know, we'll just sort of play our cards here and see how we go. It's one of those times of the day, folks, where it's so hot, it's highly unlikely he's going to get up and move in the near future. But I'm with him at the moment. I just don't want to leave him. So I think we might just sit with him for a little bit longer. So apologies for not introducing Andrew properly. My sincere apologies, Andrew. It was just the excitement of finding Q and coming around that corner, mate, and it was your spotting, mate, so congratulations on that. Andrew is on camera with me today, and it's our second drive together. Fantastic relationship. We're getting together now, making sure we work on how each other's sort of styles work, and his camera work, and what I need to put him into the right location to get the right shot and things like that, and vice versa. And it's going to be a great 10-12 days we're here, and really excited about it. But top spot, mate. Excellent work.
Thank you.
Those flies are really annoying him. Oh, he's looking up now. I'm just going to sit for a little bit, folks, just to be nice and still with him and just enjoy the beauty of him. So Sandy in Missouri, good question about Quarantine's name. Welcome aboard, and fantastic to have you with us today on this beautiful afternoon here on Wild Safari Live. Sandy, Q got his name, and it's been shortened in the last 6 months, which I'm really happy about, because he's commonly known as Quarantine, or the Quarantine male, and that was because he frequented an area on Djuma called Quarantine. It used to be a quarantine area when they were bringing animals back into Sabi Sands, and it's not used as a quarantine area anymore, but that area still has a name, just like loads of other areas around Sabi Sands. They've all got quirky little names that people might have named a road or a particular dam for something they've seen or something that occurred there. So Quarantine, this cat was found in that area in his younger days. He didn't want to stray too far from his mum after she pushed him out, and he was seen quite a lot and quite often in that area. So he got called Quarantine. So it was Quarantine male, then it was Quarantine, and then in my absence it's been shortened down to Q, which is really great. I think he's definitely in the James Bond family of cats, that's for sure. He's definitely one of the best creatures I've ever met. I really like this cat a lot. So if you've got any questions, folks, you can send them to us. You can tweet them. On Twitter, you can send it to #SafariLive, or you can send it questions at wildearth.tv and ask any question you can. Obviously, we try and get to as many as we possibly can, and we hope to try and do a really nice cross-section. If we're sitting with an animal, it's always great to ask a question about the animal. But always, if we're just driving along, please feel free to ask anything that comes to mind about Andrew, myself, Pieter, Brian. Just nice to know a little bit about background and things like that. So anything you like, but we're definitely sitting with a beautiful cat, and your questions are always welcome. So folks, what we might do is just, we'll sit here for a little bit longer. I'm just going to give a couple of the guides a bit of a call, just to let them know we're sitting with Q here. But I'm going to cross back over to Pieter and see what he's up to, because I'm sure he's got some fantastic little things going on, and Jigger's running like a dream. So I'll be back with you just now.
Welcome back on the Jigger, and yeah, what a way to start the afternoon. Hayden already with the leopard. I mean, he's been on the ground, so to speak, almost exactly 24 hours now, and he's seen 2 different leopards already. Lion, it's been cooking, and I really hope that's a sign for the next few days and weeks. Just have to check our antenna at the back. This little vehicle looks almost like a warthog sometimes. I don't know if any of you have ever seen warthogs when they're running. We don't see a lot of warthogs here in Sabi Sands. It's a bit lush, and because of the predator density, leopards and lions, they love warthogs, so we don't see them that much. But if you see them running, their tail pops up, and I've compared the vehicles often to warthogs with the antenna sticking around the back. Of course, the antenna is what plays a role in getting you here, getting you on the game drive with us. So every now and again, if you see me looking back at you talking, and then suddenly I'm looking up. In this case, I'm seeing a vulture as well, but it's just one. Probably just had a little bit of a nice thermal there that he's riding. But yeah, nice to have in the vehicle. I think there's a couple of questions, sort of just, what's been happening, what's happening, and so on. Feel free to send questions in, and send it to questions at wildearth.tv, or you can also #Safari Live if you want to tweet it. A couple more Dugger boys here, or a couple more buffalo bulls. You heard elephants here earlier making a bit of a noise, so we're gonna look for them. Let's just have a quick look. We were talking about oxpeckers earlier. This buffalo that Brian's going close in on now. Look right in between the bosses, or the bosses are those hard shields on the top of the head, or the sort of where the horns meet. There you can see an oxpecker sitting there, and you can even see the color of the beak, or the bill, which is why these guys are called red-billed oxpeckers. You also get a yellow-billed oxpecker, you might guess it, the reason for that name. But the yellow-billed oxpecker we see very seldom. Guys that are really into their birding, I know Brent is big into birding. Yellow-billed oxpeckers, I've seen them here at Djuma, but not in recent times. Only when I used to guide here full-time, and you spend lots of time out there. The yellow-billed oxpecker is slightly bigger, it's a slightly chunkier bird, slightly bigger bill. And both those birds are great companions to big herbivores, things like buffalo, rhino, bigger antelope like kudu as well. And they're companions in the sense that they can warn them of danger sometimes. Often if you're walking, the first thing you hear when you find rhinos is oxpeckers making a noise. He's going to the other buffalo. And then they also perform a very specific or a very beneficial service to the buffalo in this case, and that is that they groom them, that they clean them. They clean off exoparasites or external parasites, or more specific, ticks and fleas. And they comb through the hair of these animals and they pick those parasites off. Before we go to other questions, or two questions, just a quick, it's always a terminology that I think it's nice to understand and talk about every now and again, because relationships are very interesting to me. You know, behavior of how animals interact, of how the most interesting animal in the end, us humans, interact. Very interesting how that all works. And you get different kinds of behavior, and people always think that a good relationship, like an oxpecker and a buffalo, is a symbiotic relationship. But the word symbiosis or symbiotic relationships actually refers to any kind of relationship between two different species. And a parasite, for instance, also has a symbiotic relationship. It's just not a very positive one. In parasites, for instance, they potentially can kill the victim in the end, or the host, maybe a better word than victim. But this specific relationship is called mutualism. And I think I've correlated mutualism before to what we're doing here with these live drives. And that is when different species, or different people in this case, all sort of join together to do something very positive that everyone benefits from in the end. And with the buffalo is getting a nice grooming session. He's getting cleaned, he's getting a bit of an early warning signal maybe if something approaches. The oxpecker is very happy because he's getting a very specific, you can almost say very secured food source. He's got a very specific niche that he fills, and that is that he needs big herbivores to get his food from. And a mutualistic relationship, just for the terminology or for the explanation of it, or the definition is the right word, is a mutualistic relationship is a symbiotic relationship between two species where both species are benefiting and one species at least are reliant on the relationship for survival. Again, maybe a little bit like us. We're all benefiting, but WildEarth in the end is reliant on the relationship with all of you guys on Drive with us, because the more of you enjoying it, the more we can do this. So the more we help you, the more you help us. Alright, let's move along. I do want to find those elephants, and while we're doing that, got a few questions coming through from Final Control.